This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
In a world where there are more real films to discuss than humanly possible, one man will find a random yet entertaining website that lists hundreds of fake movies and force his co-host to talk about them on their pop culture podcast. Coming this summer to no theaters near you, Baconsale, the movie, A Kent and His Dream.
A boy can dream.
A boy can dream. And welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zach.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last show, our YA adaptations episode.
Yaw-adaptations?
Yeah.
Yaw-adaptations.
This is the part of the show where I read comments, but we're going to open...
You're not gonna? You're not gonna?
No, this is part... I quit. I'm done.
Zach!
No,
Zach.
This is a part where I read a comment from a story from... I'm so sorry, Melanie. I can't pronounce your last name. You probably get this sometimes. Posel. Melanie said, I got so many books added to my TBR list. What's that?
To be read?
To be read list because of this episode. I say do more book episodes. Thank you for that feedback. I always worry a little bit with book episodes. Like, are people going to like this?
I think people like them.
Does anybody read?
I think we need to spread our wings.
Audiobooks.
I need to read more.
Audiobooks, probably.
I need to read more.
Scott Sprague says to Debbie Foster, Percy Jackson may be untrue to the book, but Alexandra Daddario is in them. So there, I added the so there.
We met her.
You and Scott
Yes.
She's lovely.
It was a great experience for you. Fantastic. And then Crew Dutler says just a lot of things, but I'm pretty sure he pointed out that Joel did something. What happened last week, Joel?
I'm not talking about. You can see it on Twitter.
All right.
That's a tease.
All right. Thanks for playing along, Drew. Wish you could be here. But
so does he.
Thank you. Appreciate you going along. And also, according to X, everybody thinks Harry Potter's overrated. So whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, rude.
Twitter. But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
We are talking about fake movies. What?
Yes.
Mockbusters.
So
That's kind of cute, right?
Mockbuster video.
Mockbuster video.
Wow, what a difference.
Do that voice the whole time, please.
I'm making it. So
You know what's funny? That's a thing, or that's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, because it got ruined by the movie In a World.
Yeah. Well, no, it got ruined by every studio just going, we're going to use clips from the movie out of context.
Yeah.
There's not narration anymore.
So wait, once In a World went away, then it became like slow, epic versions of 70s songs?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Covers.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hipster covers.
but Kent, why don't you explain the genesis of this episode, the website and so on?
Listen, last year we talked about fake holidays.
We did.
Right? We tiered them even and said, would we want to celebrate, I don't know, Boonta Eve?
Who wouldn't?
Best Friends Day, Galentine's Day?
All fun.
Right? You guys celebrated Best Friends Day. I know that for sure.
Every year since then.
And I thought, you know what? What's more fun than being fake? Like, let's dig into the fake a little bit. Is that a Kent quotable quote? Oh, no.
What's more fun than being fake?
That's his dating profile.
Ladies.
Okay, take it easy. But, so I want to dig into something that I've always been really curious about. And I blame actually sitcoms, but I've seen this more and more in movies as well. But they talk about movies they're going to see. For example, Seinfeld. There were like 8 movies, probably 20 movies. They're like, hey, we're going to go see this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you make up that weird fake movie?
It seems almost fun, though, to be like, let's make up a title, make up a synopsis.
And it always seems like a weird, dumb, I mean, it was the 90s, but like a really 90s title. Mm-hmm. And you would never hear anything about the movie. It's just the story around the movie. And I'm like, okay. Are there more? And there are so much more. And I was doing some research and I found this website that's fully dedicated to this.
Yes.
Whoever you are, bless you. But there's a site called Nestflix, like Nestquick, but Netflix. Nestflix.
Nestflix.
Where it looks...
.fun.
.fun.
Which when I see a .fun URL, I'm like...
It's more expensive.
So many viruses.
Yeah. But it looks like a Netflix database. But what they do is they just make like cheesy looking Netflix covers. And you click into it and it gives you... By the way, I will be giving you this research. The runtime, the rating, and a short synopsis.
Yeah, I don't know where they got the runtimes from.
I think it's just for kicks.
Like the synopses, I'm like, okay, that comes from the show. They're pulling it from that. And the actors and the directors and all that, they do their research. Mm-hmm. But then with the runtime and the rating, I'm like,
But where are you getting that?
Yeah, and so that site has about 750 movies and fake TV shows, and I thought, you know what, there's no way I've even heard of a fraction of these, but I was like, I've heard of maybe 20 of them, maybe 30 of them. We compiled it down, and there's a list of semi-well-known movies if you've seen very popular movies that reference a film within a film. And I thought, hey, what if they existed? What would their quality be like? Is that something that we'd want to see? Is that something we talk about on Baconsale a lot?
Yeah.
That is the origin.
So we've got
Mockbuster.
750 movies we're going to go through in this episode.
250 tier ones, 250
Yes.
tier twos, and vice versa.
No, we've limited it down to 18. We have 18 different fake movies that were in another movie or TV show that we are going to be tiering. And tier 1 is going to be like, you know what? If that were a real movie, if they were going to make that, I would so see that.
Yeah, not only would you like maybe be there opening weekend, or like let's say it's been out for a while, I would definitely rent that.
Yeah.
Or
seek
I'd
it out.
own it.
Yeah, you'd seek it out.
Yeah.
Whereas tier 2, you know what? You waited for it to come on streaming and you don't really want to pay for it.
I call it the Tubi grade.
Tubi.
Because it used to be Netflix, but now Netflix is more expensive than renting a movie.
It really is.
And so Tubi is free with ads.
So you have to decide whether you're going to watch it on Tubi or not Tubi.
Oh, wow.
Bum.
Wow. And
That's
here's
TUBI, not a sponsor.
and here's
Yeah.
the thing about Tubi, and that's why I think tier 2 is kind of fun, is
Tier
I don't know
Tubi.
if I've ever watched anything on Tubi.
tier
Maybe?
Tubi. This is so cute. Tier Tubi, guys.
Tier Tubi.
But if you ever go onto some of these streaming services, you're like, how is that movie about, I don't know, Martian sharks? How is that even real?
Wait,
Someone made
Martian
that movie.
sharks or
Yeah.
Marsh and Sharks?
Both.
Oh, Martian sharks.
Martian sharks and in the marsh.
Yeah.
But like someone made that movie. So I think some of these movies, it's like, that looks cheesy, but I'm glad it exists somewhere. That would be my tier 2.
And then tier 3 is, you know what? This should have made
No
fake.
green light. Just,
This is just
in
don't
the
make this
depths.
movie.
Right.
Don't want it. Or don't even want to see it.
Right.
So we've limited ourselves to 6 of each of those. So 6 tier 1s, 6 tier 2s, and 6 tier 3s. We invite you to play along with us as we discuss fake movies, and we invite you to look. Some of these actually have trailers, like they're out there on YouTube. Some of them, the full movie is available in short film. But
Right.
you can make that feature length.
And yeah, we want to know if you've even heard of these.
Yeah.
Who wants to be a millionaire? Just keep doing that, okay? Joel, now do the movie voice.
In a world.
All right, let's get into it.
Our first fake movie is A Russian Affair, featured in The Artist.
Yes, came out in 2011. The artist did. But
The Artist.
The movie opens up with this movie of a Russian affair. The description is, our hero has been captured by the Russians and tortured for secret intelligence. Will his daring plan for escape work? And this stars, this is the character names I want to clarify. Stars George Valentin, Constance Gray, and Jack the dog.
The dog is the famous part.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack is just so adorable.
And
And
if you
in
don't
fact,
know- if you
he's rescued by the dog.
Yes.
In the movie.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, the dog wakes him up.
Yeah.
This is from The Artist, which if you don't know what that is,
I was going to say, are we going to talk about the movie?
we probably should.
I mean, do we have to?
Because most of these are basically dealing with Hollywood or filmmaking or actors. Because this one is when George, a silent movie star, meets Peppy Miller, a dancer. Sparks fly between the two. So
You don't like The Artist?
It's fine.
Okay, this is the best movie I've ever fallen asleep to.
Actually, I liked it for that reason.
I went to the theater and I was having a good old time, and I was so happy I fell asleep.
It's chicken soup for the sleepy soul.
It is.
Oh, that's so cute.
I was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Look at the dog.
Wait, so A Russian Affair, is it a talkie? Even though it's in The Artist?
It's a silent movie because it opens the movie at the very beginning. It's showing kind of this new picture that George had come out with,
Right.
And it's very dramatic, very adventurous. He's being tortured with like electricity from Russian spies. Then he escapes, and then puts like a little Zorro kind of mask on. And there's a car chase and a plane chase. It's very exciting. And according to the site, Kent, only 57 minutes long.
I love how short it is.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not the world's biggest fan of the silent movie, but Joel Hilton has opened my eyes to how great they really can be.
They can be great. They can be tedious, but they can be great.
Maybe I might appreciate, maybe you would too, Kent. Maybe we would appreciate The Artist more now.
Takes itself way too seriously. This is tier 3 for me.
So do you, but
That's
we all
trash.
like you.
Yeah.
Wait. The Artist or a Russian Affair?
Russian Affair.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. It probably just squeaked into tier 3, but I don't want to ever see this, or I don't want to see it get made.
What do you think, Joel?
I give it tier 1.
Oh,
It's your
really?
one.
Well, you know I'm a silent movie fan.
Yeah.
And not only is The Artist, I think, a good movie, but the fake movie of A Russian Affair, I was watching, I'm like, that looks pretty exciting. I'd watch that. It's
Yeah.
going to have some tongue-in-cheek. It's got a dog in it. Who doesn't like a dog in a movie? So, yes.
Exciting.
It looked there was a car chase and a plane chase. Did you not see that?
Gandhi 2 is on this list, and you're calling this one exciting?
Spoilers.
Yes, but I'm giving Russian Affair a tier 1.
I'm giving it a tier 2.
Okay, across the board.
Because I think that it sounds like it's going to be pretty good, but like not amazing.
Joel, keep in mind, I don't watch movies before 1980, and
That's
this is
true.
way back when.
Yeah, I think it's like 1923,
Yeah.
27.
No, I don't know. I wasn't even born then.
None of us were. No one listening to this podcast was born before 1927.
Let us know if you were.
We have a whole center that just shows up. We love it.
Toothless?
All right. Our next fake movie that's very real in our minds right now is Chubby Rain.
Chubby Rain.
From Bowfinger.
From Bowfinger, which we've talked about way too often recently.
Why?
How did that happen?
I'm just going to talk about Chubby Rain, not Bowfinger. Is that okay?
Yeah, give the synopsis of
Synopsis
Chubby Rain.
is the aliens come to Earth in raindrops.
Chubby Rain.
In one sentence, Chubby Rain. They begin replacing people's guts with alien hardware, and the planet's last hope is Keith Kincaid.
Yeah. So the movie itself, Bowfinger, is about this filmmaker who wants to make a movie with this big star, but he obviously can't get him.
Right.
So he ends up filming him in secret, like when he's out in public and other places and doing stuff, and then kind of splicing it together to make a movie.
And so this is directed by Bobby Bowfinger, the
fake movie.
Yes.
We got to keep it straight which one we're talking about.
I'll generally be talking about the fake cast and the fake directors, and it's starring Kit Ramsey in the movie and Jeff Ramsey. And the tagline is, "Gotcha, suckers!" Suckers. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, you got to get that right.
Right.
Ken has the wrong melanin content for that.
I do. This is PG-13, an hour and 46 minutes. And so when this movie is screened within Bowfinger, it's like the funniest, unintentionally funniest scene in the movie because some really sappy, dramatic music starts playing. And Steve Martin's really nervous because he's about to screen his movie, and the whole cast...
Steve Martin plays the filmmaker, Bowfinger.
The whole cast is there, and it's a huge auditorium. The movie itself is really poorly made. Like, it looks like it's made in, like, the early 90s.
It's Room-esque. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like. Or Birdemic.
But people are like, you know, nudging each other like, oh, that was a great memory. Oh, that was so wonderful. And I think they cry at the end.
It felt like the part in Music Man when the kids start playing kind of terribly, but all the parents are so proud. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it felt like, but on a more cheesy scale.
I do think it would get a 6-minute ovation at Cannes, though, because
everything
what movie
does nowadays.
Thank you. Exactly.
Have you guys ever timed 6 minutes? Do you honestly think you can clap that long?
No.
I don't get it.
All Baconsale can do is 90 minutes.
That's clapping?
Yeah. Everything we do, 90 minutes.
I don't even think Chubby Wayne.
That's a sequel.
Bruce, he's let himself go. I don't even think it would be so bad it's good. It just looks really poorly made. Once again,
it looks like a film that you would watch that your kids put together over the summer.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I'm glad that you were occupied this whole summer. That is great for you.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But it's a tier 3.
I'm giving it a tier 3 as well. There's just too much narration, I found.
Yeah.
Because he had to, like...
It was the worst narration,
honestly,
right?
From Joel's perspective, they just talk too much.
Yeah.
There's too much talking.
Yeah. I like my movies silent.
Like the movies.
Like us?
I like my movies like I like my children. Silent. All right. Tier 3s all around. Next, for your consideration, is Home for Purim for your consideration.
In the 1940s South, the Pisher family gathers to celebrate Purim. Young Rachel, worried about her dying mother, is nervous to introduce her girlfriend to the family. Originally released as Home for Thanksgiving.
And this is from the movie For Your Consideration, which is about... it's a mockumentary, Christopher Guest mockumentary, the fourth one in the series. And it's about these actors who are in this Home for Purim, and they start getting buzz that they might get an Oscar nomination for it. And it kind of just changes the dynamic of their relationship. But this movie is intentionally supposed to be silly in the sense of it was like Home for Purim. It's a very Jewish. The Jewish holiday Purim is, I found out, I looked it up. It commemorates the saving of the Jewish people from annihilation at the hands of an official of the, I'm not going to say it, a guy named, I'm going to say Haman.
Haman.
Yeah, it's in the Bible, but it's in the book of Esther. And so they start making this movie, and they're like, no, we need to make it more appealing to the general public. So then they change the name to Home for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And they add on all this stuff to kind of make it more appealing. And you can find a clip of this on YouTube.
It's wonderful. And it's played like an Oscar clip, What was the Amy Adams, Glenn Close movie that came out like 3 years ago?
Hillbilly Elegy.
That's it.
Hillbilly Elegy. Okay, so that movie wasn't received very well and it was played very dramatic. And that's what Home for Purim felt like to me. Catherine O'Hara was going for her Oscar.
Otherwise, it was Marilyn Hack in the movie.
Marilyn Hack. Yeah. And I think Marilyn Hack will get the Best Actress Oscar because she hams it up. By the way, this is PG-13.
She didn't get nominated.
That's right, in the movie. Yeah. She didn't get nominated.
No, she didn't. No, none of them that thought they were, I think, did.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Heyman. That's how you say it.
But there's the scene where she's at dinner and she's giving the story of Purim.
Yeah.
And she basically says, I'm the villain. I'm Haman. And everyone's like, you're Esther, Mom. And it's so funny.
And every time they say the name Heyman, they drown it out with like noisemakers. It's bizarre.
But this is 2 hours, 32 minutes. It's a lot. But here's the thing. Do we have any other movies about Purim? Don't you think a Purim movie needs to exist?
No.
There's so many holiday movies.
Probably. I give this movie credit because in my brain, this is Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek. Mm-hmm. Like that was just the precursor to that role that she's playing here. I mean, this feels like a solid tier 2 for me.
It is a tier 2B.
Tier 2B.
Tier 2B.
Like I would, if I'm scrolling, I'm like, I did hear about that getting buzz. There was a list I saw online where they thought that this was snubbed, and I'll check it out. Like this is a movie that I would years down the road would watch.
I gave it a tier 3.
Oh,
because as a comedy, it is funny. This
you're
scene
Haman.
is funny,
but it's not supposed to be.
Haman. We'll get there. But as a drama, this is overacted and cheesy. Like I would really, and you said 2 hours and 32 minutes. That does not surprise me because I feel like this would drag on and on.
Oh, totally.
And so I gave it a tier 3. I don't think I'd want to watch this one.
Oh,
if we gave a
sad.
full movie. I know. I'm sorry.
You're not invited over for Purim then.
Apparently not.
What about Don't from Grindhouse?
Bad things happen when you do things. So don't. If you are thinking of seeing this movie, don't.
That's kind of how the trailer goes.
That is the joke. That is the entire joke.
So this comes from Grindhouse in 2007. And the movie is essentially Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez kind of doing an homage to these exploitation films of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So they have these 2 back-to-back films, but then throughout the film, or is it just in between?
In between,
they have a bunch of random trailers.
And guess what? They've made films out of these.
They have.
Flicks. Let's call them flicks, not films.
But this one, don't. The trailer...
Do you know who directed this trailer?
Yes, I do. It was Edgar Wright.
Yes, it was.
Edgar Wright directed the trailer, and the cast includes Nick Frost and Rafe Spall. It starts off with this kind of burnt off rings or the haunted kind of feel.
I love it.
They're
the gothic horror.
Yeah. They're like they're at this haunted house, and there's a gate.
Jason Isaacs.
But then it very quickly gets into splatter horror, and exploitation horror, which I'm not a big a fan of. And so I kind of went, I don't know about this. But then it was Edgar Wright.
Yes.
And it's Will Arnett, the voice of Lego Batman, basically saying, if you're thinking of going into this door, don't. I'm Batman.
This is rated R. It's an hour and 46 minutes.
First try.
It's about 11 minutes too long, I feel like. I feel like don't would kind of wear out its welcome.
I love that he's just giving Showtime reviews.
Yeah.
But I do think if this movie were to exist, having been done by Edgar Wright, it wouldn't be inventive. He's almost making it to be a cult classic. And I think that's why I love it so much. This is my tieriest of ones.
Doesn't
on
surprise
this
me.
one. I would love to see Don't.
I was like, okay, what's this one again? I think I remember seeing the trailer, and I turned it on, and then I told Kent, I'm probably getting fired from work for watching this trailer at work.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't show anything super explicit, but it was just kind of grimy and gross. Oh, there is one part where the guy's head splits open. I forgot about that.
Women in undergarments.
There's a gropage thing.
If you are watching this trailer at work,
don't.
But what do you give it as a tier, Joel?
I gave it a tier 2.
oh my gosh.
Only because,
you
I
don't
said,
like Edgar Wright?
No, that's Edgar Wright's the only thing that's keeping this from being a tier 3, because I wouldn't watch this unless his name was attached to it, because I was like, that's not my style of horror. But then Edgar Wright, maybe.
Yeah.
Clear play it.
Zach.
Angel it.
Zach.
Tier 3, not my thing.
Wow.
Tier 3. Not my thing.
I thought I was going to be in trouble. Not
for me.
anymore.
Not for me. Wow. Barely tier 3.
Kent, if you are going to get mad at Zach for voicing his opinion, don't. Baconsale.
Yeah, basically.
Sorry. All right, you filthy animals. We have Angels with Filthy Souls from Home Alone.
Crime in the city is at an all-time high. Rookie gangster Snakes pays a visit to a notorious mob boss, Johnny, whose patience is running out.
And this was featured in Home Alone and, oddly enough, Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, weird, right?
Look, here's the deal, guys. This one must be given lots and lots of credit because this is probably the main movie on this list that people actually think is real.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. 1, 2, 10. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Well, we all thought this was real, right?
Yeah.
I did when I was a kid. I was like, I want to see that.
But there's also a reason because it's a parody of Angels with Dirty Faces,
Which came out in
starring James
1938.
Cagney.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a real movie.
Oh,
Yeah. And I feel like if we had an entire movie of this, think how many conversations we wouldn't have to have. We just record the parts of this movie and play them for each other. It's so perfect for any
It's so
situation.
quotable for an old movie.
So quotable.
What if we actually did that for Baconsale?
Just like recorded our voices?
Yeah. What? So if
doing that.
if Joel was like a pull string doll, like Woody
Sure.
from Toy Story,
Yeah.
what would he say? Family friendly.
Yeah,
Probably.
family friendly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we all have our little catchphrases.
Comment below what you think Joel should say as a doll.
But this movie is definitely one that I wanted to see. It's one I think I would enjoy as a 30s gangster film.
How often do you watch gangster films, though?
I do enjoy them.
You do?
Like the old ones.
I don't really watch them.
I don't know why. Like,
Have you seen the
newer
old Scarface?
ones- Yeah.
And you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Much better than the new Scarface.
It was made before I was born.
most of these
Boring.
movies. No one from 1938 is what's listening
if
to
you were born in 1938, please respond.
is listening to Baconsale.
But what do you give it, Joel?
A tier 1.
Yeah, I also give it a tier 1, mostly accounting for the fact that I thought it was real, which tells me that it's really well done.
Yeah. And I love that. One of the things I love about these movies, these fake movies that we're talking about, is they actually were, the trailers or these scenes were scripted and cast
Yep.
and like just edited correctly. Like the way they did it, they put, even don't. I looked at it, I'm like, they probably had so much fun making this movie,
right.
making this trailer, these fake trailers. But yeah, Angels with Filthy Souls, tier 1 for me.
What do you give it, Kent?
Tier 2 beat.
Tier 2B.
Here's the thing. I think more people would know about this movie. They'd quote it. I just don't think people would have seen it.
But
Does
why
that
did
make sense?
Kevin wanted to watch it in 1990.
And
Why
it's
wouldn't he?
rated R.
I mean, it's like
There was no
1930s
rated R.
R.
There was no R in 1938.
Okay.
R didn't come down until 68.
Oh, and was it scored on Rotten Tomatoes?
69.
Weird. Strange.
Huh,
Okay.
how about that?
didn't
I give
exist
it
either.
tier 1. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Joel and I, finger boop. Okay,
Finger boop. Keep your opinion to yourself, you filthy animal.
Ah, ha, ha, ha.
What was that noise?
I don't know. I think you just.
I'm sorry. I don't have.
Is
I
that
don't,
dairy?
I don't have buttons to push. I'm sorry. I'll build in sound effects.
By the
later.
way, Home Alone 2 shows the sequel.
Yeah, and they apparently
Filthier Souls?
The
Yeah.
Home Sweet Home Alone actually has like a futuristic version of it too, like the
Filthiest
remix.
Souls. All right, now we have Helix from Notting Hill.
Psychopathic flesh-eating robots in space. Close Encounters meets Jean de Florette.
And Jean de Florette is actually a 1986 period drama directed by Claude Berry. It's a French drama. So that's kind of what they're saying is this is sci-fi and French drama.
And this stars Anna Scott, Clark Peters, and Misha Barton.
And yeah. Anna Scott is the only fake name there, I believe.
Yeah,
That's Julia Roberts. Because in Notting Hill, which came out in 1999, a set of circumstances makes Anna Scott, a famous actress, fall in love with William Thacker, the owner of a bookstore in Notting Hill.
Such a
Hey,
great
that's
movie.
the name of the movie.
And so she's doing the press tour for Helix. And it's funny, I remember watching Notting Hill. I'm like, wow, Helix seems like it's like a kind of patting itself on the back.
Like a Kubrick space
Yeah,
film?
like kind of like a Kubrick sort of thing.
Like Close Encounter, or not Close Encounters, 2001.
Yeah, but then I read the description and I had no idea that this was what the movie was even about. But psychopathic flesh-eating robots
In space!
in space. And that's the thing. It's not just to kill a robot. It eats flesh.
Yeah.
That sells the movie for me. Like, totally. I want to see this movie.
But it also has the pretentiousness of having
And
that
yeah,
French
that's what I
drama.
was looking for. Is pretentious, right? But I think it'll be insightful, but also kind of gory. Totally cool with that.
So like French sci-fi, but not cool like The Fifth Element.
Kind of. Although that Fifth Element, I think, is kind of what they were kind of
Because
going
I was
for.
going to say that's like French sci-fi that
Yeah.
tries to have a little bit going on.
Anna Scott is one of the biggest movie stars in the world. Why wouldn't you want to see a movie like this with Anna Scott? And this was back in her heyday. I'd say this is peak Anna Scott.
You think so?
Yeah.
We could actually, on that
Save it for our
on Netflix, you can search by like the fake actor's name, and it will pull up the stuff they're in, which cracked me up. And there, you can type in the real movie too. And
Guys,
see what
Fox
fake
and
movies
Hound
are.
gave this a great review. Horse and Hound?
Horse and Hound. I
Yeah,
think it
Horse
was.
and Hound.
But what do you
When he's a
give it,
fake
Kent?
reporter?
This is one
It's a
I'd
tier
see in
one.
the theaters.
Yeah.
This reminded me of Gravity with flesh-eating robots.
So you're giving it a tier 1?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'll give it a tier 2.
Okay.
This is not a tier 2B for me. This is a tier airplane movie for me, which would put it into 2B, but this is a perfect airplane movie.
Actually, yeah,
I can see
that's a
that.
good tier 2 description there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I watched, I think it was the original Solaris, 1972.
The original's okay. The remake is horrible.
Original's not okay. Original's
I think it's okay.
But that's kind of the vibes I got from Helix, and I was like, I'm not into that as much, but I might go see it because Anna Scott's in it.
Right.
But what about Stab from
Stab.
Scream 2?
The true story of Sidney Prescott, based on the bestseller The Woodsboro Murders by Gail Weathers, starring Tori Spelling, Luke Wilson, Heather Graham, David Schwimmer, and directed by Robert Rodriguez.
I mean, that's
Like a full-on
that's a good combo.
Kent's going to give all the lies. I only tell the truth because this was seen in Scream 2. The synopsis for that: 2 years after the first series of murders, as Sidney acclimates to college life, someone donning the Ghostface costume begins a new string of killings.
Zach, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about Scream itself?
That's not my thing.
It's because
slasher.
you were so late to the slasher genre,
Yes.
so that when it's so meta-jokey, you're like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I got
Like,
the
I'm not
meta
in.
jokes because they just permeate pop culture.
Yeah.
And so, like, I got all that, but I didn't have the fun that people had with this movie when it came out. That said, I'm willing to admit it's of high quality for the genre. It's not my thing.
So this is displayed in Scream 2, which I love that movie. And one thing that's great about it is, we have the actors in Scream, and they it's almost like they're saying, hey, we're in a movie, but here's like a Kirkland version of me that's in this movie.
Like there's actually a scene between Tori Spelling and Luke Wilson where they're kind of fighting in the hallway, and I was like, they're actually acting, which is funny. Like, they're not being too campy, but it was like they were actually cast in the original role.
So I love Scream, honestly, and I think seeing like a scene for scene Scream, but knowing, like, let's say this movie really existed. Let's say Stab existed. It's based on a true story and a recent true story. That's kind of scary.
Like a 2 years before kind of a thing. And this is it'd be like a true crime, a movie
But like a really entertaining one.
Possibly. One thing weirded me out, though, is like how they have, who is that playing? Heather Graham playing the part of
Drew Barrymore, right?
Casey.
Yeah.
And they have this whole phone conversation with the killer like they did in the first movie. And my mind just kept going, but how did they know that's how the phone conversation went? Obviously not word for word.
Sure.
But I was like, no, when they got there, she was
gone.
The boyfriend was dead. Like, there's no witnesses here.
Well, they're not survivors that had a phone conversation with Mr. Stabby guy. What do they call him in the movie?
Ghostface.
I guess.
I know, but what do they call him in the movie?
Ghostface.
Still?
I think so.
Oh.
Mr. Stabby Guy. That's his name now.
Mr. Stabby Guy.
I mean, it's Scream, he's Ghostface.
But the realism pulled me out there where I'm like, how did they get that information?
That's what got you.
That's what got me.
That's the joke.
I mean, they probably knew she did the Jiffy Pop because they found it after on the crime scene and obviously the murder. They know that. But
Okay, look, let's be real with ourselves. Stab is just Scream.
Yeah.
Which means it's good.
It's very good.
it is, but it's not as meta. Is what I mean.
It's not as meta, but it's real.
Yes, it's more based on a real events. I'm giving this a tier 2.
What?
Oh,
What do you like?
So Stab
me out.
Stab
Wow.
is Scream meets Blair Witch.
Sure. Yeah, actually, yeah.
No, be more something like what's that Ted Bundy movie? Something like that, where it came out. People were like,
Incredibly loud and dangerously close.
"That's the one."
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, that's the one.
What is that movie called?
Extremely wicked, vile,
Yeah, vile,
distasteful,
yeah.
Awesome.
but kind of handsome.
That's the thing, Ken. I feel like this would
everybody
feel
has a story.
if this were based on true events. I think I'd be in one of the. Ooh, that seems a little too soon to be doing a movie.
Okay,
like
I
this.
get that. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of bumped it down. And traditional slasher. I don't know. Very few slashers stand above the crowd. Most of them are tier 2.
So tell me more about the tier 1 that you gave this, Kent.
It's a tier 1. It's absolutely a opening weekend movie. And here's the thing. It got a little watered down by Stab 7. I wasn't in.
They do.
And by the
make
way,
sequels.
this does go down to, I think, Stab 7.
And we
Jenna Ortega?
we did try to make a point to only use one movie from each real movie, one fake movie from each real movie, because there's some of these where they have just like a laundry list of fake movies in them. And we had to be like, no, we're going to pull it back.
Totally.
I give it a tier 2. Not my thing, but of quality. And I think the scenes, like the what you get to see, is like, oh, that's of again.
I
It's of
thought
good
you were going to
quality.
go tier 3 based on the not my thing.
I give it credit for being legit.
Okay.
All right, next up we have The Dueling Cavalier from Singing in the Rain.
100% all talking. The story of Count Pierre de Batil and young Yvonne who find love during the French Revolution despite the threats of Madame Guillotine.
Ooh. Who stars in it, Kent?
Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont, and it's directed by Roscoe Dexter. That's a great impression.
I can't stand him. No, it's I can't stand him. That's how she says it. Very annoying voice.
Yes.
No.
I am the saddest of mortals in France.
But Singing in the Rain, the synopsis, a silent film star falls for a chorus girl just as he and his delusionally jealous screen partner are trying to make the difficult transition to talking pictures in 1920s Hollywood. So sound was a big issue when it came out because a lot of these actors, like Buster Keaton, who suddenly people heard his voice, they were like, that's not what I thought he sounded like.
Right.
And so they kind of turned away from it. And some actors were not good when they started talking. You're like, oh, that's kind of terrible. And I love how this movie kind of shows that, like, as it's going along, because they're just getting sound, they're just figuring out where to place microphones. Lena Lamont keeps playing with her pearls, and you can hear it the whole time. When she turns away from the mic,
and to describe it, like, this is a French period piece movie, and it's meant to be very serious. In fact, all the supporting cast, they're trying to speak in a French accent.
Yeah,
and then Lena just has that high-pitched voice, and she's a horrible actress.
Yes.
And it's all about bad production.
The sound gets out of sync for a while there, and so it seems like one character is talking when the other's talking. And it's done for laughs. It's done for laughs. It's done in the movie, in Singing in the Rain. This movie is made done for laughs.
But like unintentional laughs, because then when they screen the movie, they're like, hopefully people like it.
And people don't.
It goes even worse.
Yeah. But I think that'd be a fun movie to see. I give it a tier 2.
What do you like? You can't just give everything tier 2.
I'm not giving everything a tier 2.
They're coming.
Is Gandhi 2? Does that get 6 tier 1s?
It's going to.
No, Gandhi 6 gets tier 1s.
Zach, what about you?
Okay, look, it looks like a swashbuckling, somewhat swashbuckly, like,
It's the French Revolution.
Of the era French Revolution film. And, I love The Room, okay? Is it supposed to be bad? No.
I think it's the original The Room.
For me,
I think it's the Godfather of so bad it's good movies.
No,
the audience was laughing. They walked out. I actually think it's a little bit before its time. I think the studio would be bankrupted, but now would be considered an all-time bad, great movie.
yes, but it would have lost everything, and then it would have caught traction over time and be a legend.
As an early adopter of sound, though, it would give that respect of like, look, they're trying something new.
But it's still bad. I think everyone would own this because they'd be like, how can I not? Look at this attempt. This is so cute. This is a tier 1. I need to see this. I will own this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that from you because it was made before 1980.
I take it back. Tier 3.
Well, I give it a tier 1. I think this is, while the horror movies might not be my thing, this is. I like the French Revolution, and I like goofy movies.
And Madame Guillotine, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Yeah.
Man. All right, I give it a tier 1. Joe, you give it a 2, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fine. We have not agreed on anything except for Bowfinger. We don't like Chubby Rain, and that's all. Which, that's weird out of context.
Yes, it is.
Now we have Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. Tread lightly, boys.
The heart-wrenching story of Jack, a simple farmhand who can talk to animals.
And this is from Tropic Thunder, and here's a synopsis. Through a series of freak occurrences, a group of actors shooting a big-budget war movie are forced to become the soldiers they are portraying.
Raunchy, aggressive three amigos.
So Tug Speedman is an actor.
Played by Ben Stiller.
Yeah, played by Ben Stiller, similar to Tom Cruise. And he has a action series called Scorched. And it's like a post-apocalyptic movies. And they're big budget, fun action movies. And they're well liked. And then he's like, hey, I need to do a dramatic role. I want my Oscar.
He wants to be taken seriously.
Yeah. And then he does Simple Jack. And it destroys his career.
Yes. Because of his terrible bowl cut.
Yeah, it's just the terrible bowl cut.
No, and that's the thing is he plays a disabled character, and people got offended by this. And Ben Stiller had to say, in the context of the film, I think it's really clear that we were making fun of actors who try to use serious subjects to win awards.
Yeah, I think it actually is more of a commentary on Hollywood's usual like cliched treatment of people with disabilities.
It feels like a dig at I Am Sam.
Oh, yes. Yes, exactly that one. That's, I think, the one that
also, have you guys seen the trailer for Sia's Music?
What?
Sia did a movie called Music.
Oh, no.
And it is horrible. And it came out like 3 years ago. Watch the trailer, you'll be offended.
Okay.
So things haven't really changed. But I mean, he learns his lesson throughout Tropic Thunder and kind of like why he should have gone all in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, Simple Jack, it would be hard to sit through. It's 2 hours and 3 minutes. It's only PG, which is weird for an Oscar bait type movie. But man, this it destroyed his career.
Yeah, and this is one if this were made into a real movie, I highly doubt it would be well received by audiences of today.
Canceled immediately?
Immediately. I mean, you watch the trailer and it is one of those, you kind of cringe. You're like, oh, wow, can you do that? Can you say that? But then it's, like I said, it's a commentary on how Hollywood kind of exploits this type of characters in order to get Oscars.
Yeah.
What's our tier 3? Please don't make this.
It's a
trash.
Yeah. Tier 3 for
trash.
me.
Yep.
We'll throw it in the trash.
Throw it in the trash.
Whatever tier 3 is, I pick that one.
Yeah,
Same.
I picked tier 3 as well.
Okay.
Yay, agreement.
That was simple. Jack.
My name's Zach.
Oh.
All right. I don't think we're going to agree at all here. We have Gandhi 2 from UHF.
Gandhi's back, and this time he's mad. No more Mr. Passive Resistance.
Yep. So this is from UHF. The Weird Al Yankovic movie came out in 1989, which the synopsis of that, an unemployed visionary becomes the manager of a local television station. The station becomes a success with all sorts of hilarious sight gags and wacky humor. So this is...
Joel, what else does the trailer say?
Oh, it says a lot. This is one bad mother you don't want to mess with. He's a one-man wrecking crew, but he also knows how to party. There's only one law. His law.
His law.
So in UHF, there are a lot of fake trailers for upcoming shows. And this one is Gandhi basically being in a convertible with some chicks.
Well, and if you don't know the story of Gandhi, which I can never spell right on the first time, by the way.
No, I always put the H in the wrong place.
So do I.
It's later than you think.
But it's, based on the story of Gandhi, this passive resistance kind of guy who he protests in a way that's peaceful. And this is supposed to be an obnoxious sequel where he turns into this action hero, punches a guy right through with just his fist, orders a steak, medium rare.
By the way, they kind of messed up on the title. It should have been called Gandhi, The Hunger Strikes Back.
Hunger strike.
Right?
But yeah, on UHF, it's this channel where they're kind of airing anything and everything. And so they choose this to put in there, and it's just Weird Al Yankovic's humor being shown. By the way, is there a movie title more dated than UHF?
No.
Like, even at the time.
Is there a movie more dated than UHF?
Hey, save it for our Weird Al show.
That's going to happen.
It should. Yeah. It should. And the director and Weird Al Yankovic's manager as well, Jay Levy, is the one who plays Gandhi in this skit. And I think he's hilarious.
He's so good.
I think this movie's hilarious. But would I want it... This movie trailer that they play is hilarious. But would I want it as a real movie? No.
What?
No, I would not want to see
Joel, have you heard
Gandhi
of a guilty
2.
pleasure? Literally guilty pleasure.
This is literally one of those things where I'd watch and go, why are you making this? This is like... I don't know. I couldn't see this as sitting down and watching this as a real movie. How long is it, Kent, in the fake world?
It is an hour and 36 minutes. And also PG-13.
I don't think I'd watch it. I'm giving this a tier 3.
What? This is somewhere in the dregs of Tubi, and it exists, and I'm so happy about it. This is a tier 2.
What?
Yeah. I will watch this probably 3 times throughout my life.
I've watched this trailer so many times throughout my life.
Then why is it a tier 3?
Because as a joke, yes. As a real movie, no.
Please.
I don't want to see Gandhi 2. Zach, what are you giving it?
I mean, I was gonna give it a tier 3, thinking that you were gonna give it a tier 1. Now I kind of want to defend it.
Yeah, defend it.
No,
it's about Gandhi. He's a hero.
Hilarious.
The red Ferrari. There's a red Ferrari in there.
There is.
It's a tier 3. That's not my thing. Let's like have this.
You never want to watch it once on a sleepover with some buddies. Gandhi 2.
No. Maybe. No. All right. Next we have The Roger. From 30 Rock.
Revolves around a southern-born lawyer named Constance Justice, and is based on a book by Kevin Grisham, who is the brother of John.
Yeah. This is from 30 Rock, which if you don't know is 30 Rock synopsis. Liz Lemon, head writer of the sketch comedy show TGS with Tracy Jordan, must deal with an arrogant new boss and a crazy new star while trying to run a successful television show without losing her mind. And there are many movies referenced on 30 Rock. But Rural Juror is probably the
icon.
It's the most well-known one of the series.
I mean, there is a sequel. The sequel book did just get written. It's called Urban Fervor. Oh, by the way, I didn't go through the cast or the director. This is the cast is Jenna Maroney, who's a character in 30 Rock.
Yes.
And Tony Hawk is in this movie as well.
And directed by?
Casey Affleck. Honestly, doesn't that kind of give it some credibility there?
It kind of does.
It's 2 hours and 23 minutes. Oof.
Now, the whole joke about this movie, by the way, is that Jenna comes in and she says, oh, yeah, my movie, The Rural Juror, and no one knows what she's saying. Like, they say, like, is she saying roar her, gem her? Like they don't know what she's saying. They finally get the screener.
Well,
They're like,
they try to watch her on a talk show, but the host is
Barbara Walters.
It's Barbara the Roger.
They're like, that didn't help at all.
What's her name from SNL that plays her?
Rachel Dratch.
Yes, Rachel Dratch
is playing
great.
Yeah,
I do miss legal thrillers from the 90s. Like, I would like to see a return. I don't think The Rural Juror is going to be that movie. I mean, Liz Lemon didn't even like it.
yeah. Did you know that before Kevin Grisham was a novelist, he worked at a recycling center? That's what it says in the show.
Weird factoid.
Yeah. And it became a Broadway production. The Rural Juror did. And they ended up on the series finale of 30 Rock. Jenna actually sings a song from the Broadway production, which I would like to play for you gentlemen right now.
Oh boy.
Rural Juror.
Yeah.
Is that how she says it during the show?
Yeah.
Rural Juror.
She kind of mumbles it the whole time. But the funny thing about that, and the funny part is really kind of the beginning of that when she's using a lot of those kind of weird R sounds as she's singing. It's a whole thing. It's a running gag. But then she gets to the chorus, and that's when it, say Rural Juror. So I mean, sure, I want to do that. But as a Broadway production, as a movie, I would absolutely go see The Rural Juror. And so I'm going to give it tier 1.
Wow.
For The Rural Juror.
Right in the trash.
I just like saying it. The Rural
You're at
Juror.
tier 3?
Yeah, tier 3.
What?
Yeah, I don't
You
like
said
Jenna
you
Maroney.
like
She's a
90s
bad
law.
actress. I like it, but I don't think this is the movie. Tom Cruise is not in it. Kevin Grisham, he's a hack.
I just want to clarify.
Hey, you know what else he recycles? Book content.
I want to clarify. Do you not like Jenna Maroney or do you not like Jane Krasowski, the actress who plays Jenna Maroney?
Porque no los dos.
I'm going to give it a tier 2 because it just feels like a Tubi.
So many straights here.
Now we have Deception from The Holiday.
Rebecca Green was just her average 20-year-old until the father she never knew left her something she never expected.
Starring?
Lindsay Lohan and James Franco.
Yes, The Holiday came out in 2006. In the synopsis, 2 women with troubled guy problems swap homes in each other's countries where they each meet a local guy and fall in love.
I think they did a really good job at making the most bland type looking movie. And that is Deception, even with a really bland title. And there are actually movies called Deception.
It's like there's one point James Franco's like he pulls out double guns and she's like, why do you have 2 guns? He's like, I didn't think one was enough, and just starts shooting.
Like, it truly looks like it was made by the Russo brothers for Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, just so bland.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was interesting. That's just one of those where you're like, how did they get these big stars to like be in this 2-second clip? And it's because they're friends with the director. Nancy Meyers directed Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap, for example.
So I think the joke around the movie is good, but the movie is intentionally meant to be bad. Am I wrong there?
I don't know, because they're kind of just... By the way, John Krasinski is apparently the editor for this movie.
Right.
As he's there in
But
the
he
clip.
looks full Jim in this.
He does.
Yeah.
But as I watched it, I went, maybe take it or leave it. I ended up giving it a tier 3. I got pushed down there because it wasn't one that I was... I pushed it down there because I wanted another tier 2 in there.
Okay. Yeah, this is a tier 3.
Tier 1.
Why?
Deception? Are you trying to deceive us?
Why, Zach?
Look, I thought it looked fine. Like, I don't like horror movies, and so my list is like off by 2 or 3 on this, and it actually got bumped up to tier 1.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
I'm ashamed of it.
Is it because you like The Holiday, or you're just like, that's a cool concept?
I don't mind The
He's
Holiday.
a big fan of both Lindsay Lohan and James Franco.
That is not untrue.
I'm confused. Tier 1. Hey, Zach, you said you went and saw a movie this weekend. What movie was it?
Deception.
Was it good?
No, not at all.
Okay, there it
but
is.
I got to be honest. I'm probably going to watch it again when it comes out on digital.
Yeah. And you can find the clip of this on YouTube. Cameron Diaz sitting in the editing room watching this. So, yeah, see if you like it as much as Zach.
Wow.
I'm ashamed.
You should be.
All right, next we have Matt from Manatee.
Matt with an exclamation point.
If a man and an ant are exposed to radiation simultaneously, the result would be terrible indeed. For the result would be Mant.
And this was seen in Matinee. It came out in 1993. I don't know if people remember Matinee, the movie starring John Goodman.
I think it's an underseen movie.
It is, and it's okay. But
I'm really looking into the depths of my soul. I knew this was Matinee. Pretty sure I said Manatee. Go on.
that's okay.
I would also watch that movie.
Barbara Manatee. Second VeggieTales reference I've done this season. But the synopsis. The teenage son of a Navy sailor stationed... What? Okay. What? Okay, fine, IMDb. This is your synopsis? Whatever, IMDb. The teenage son of a Navy sailor, newly stationed in Key West, gets some excitement with his friends when a small-time film producer comes to town to premiere a kitschy horror film during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Okay, here's the thing. Manatee, Or Matinee.
Matinee.
Kind of forgettable. Like, I like John Goodman quite a bit in the movie, but the movie's forgettable. Mant, they show 15 minutes of this movie. They made a 15-minute movie, and this, I believe it's Joe Dante who directed this, right?
Yeah, you can find the full 15-minute movie on
And guess
YouTube.
what? He did an incredible job.
Well, because this is they. This is just
Them?
this is
Them.
Sorry,
Them,
the ant movie,
giant ant movie.
Them. Yeah.
But
This
it's
is-
them, but it's like a universal version
Well,
of
it's
them.
like Them and The Fly.
Yes.
It's the B horror movie of the 50s.
But the practical effects are awesome. The movie is super cheesy and overacted.
Well,
Like,
and
it fits within the time.
It also uses Rumble Rama, which is a technology Mant does, but it's a take on the William Castle. He did a bunch of these in-theater gimmicks like Emergo, where they were watching, what movie was it? Oh, I can't remember which movie it was, but like a skeleton with red eyes like flew across the ceiling, like a practical one during the
Was it
movie.
House on Haunted Hill from back in the day?
I think it might have been.
Okay.
And then they had Percepto and Illusiono and shock sections. Like in the Tingler, they would have like electrical currents that would shock your spine.
Whoa.
And then Percepto, I believe, is one where you, like 13 Ghosts, where you hold up the 3D glasses and you could see ghosts that you couldn't see unless you had the glasses on.
And now they got D-Box.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So they're trying to pull people back in the theaters. Then I would be highly interested in going back now and seeing this with Rumble Rama and seeing Mant. So I'm giving it a tier 1.
Mant is a straight up tier 1. I'd love to
Zach.
see this.
guys.
Zach.
Mantis a tier 1.
Yay!
Rehumanted and it feels
Zach.
so good.
You demand.
All right, Manatee.
Matinee.
No, really, Matinee, mediocre show. But
the movie
it
was
did
fantasy.
really make me want to watch them. Because that was the first like black and white horror movie I ever saw.
It
Right.
terrified me as a kid with giant ants.
Yeah.
Them with an exclamation point.
Now we have prognosis negative.
You gotta say
from
it right.
Sorry.
Prognosis negative. That's how they say it in the show.
I do.
I cut you off.
From Seinfeld.
Yes.
A man receives a negative result on a medical test, which he mistakenly believes to be bad. The fictional film is implied to be a thriller.
Yeah. Because they talk about it. George wants to go see it really bad with Jerry and Elaine from Seinfeld, which it's Seinfeld. You know the synopsis of that. But the funny thing about this is this is mentioned in a couple different episodes, and there's a movie poster for it during Seinfeld, but it has its roots in an actual screenplay, which was written by Larry David, who was a co-creator on Seinfeld. It was never produced. But in an interview, they said this movie is, because it sounded like a thriller, like when they're like, prognosis negative.
Right.
I was like, it sounds like, kind of a cool sci-fi thing maybe. But in the interview on NPR, they actually said the movie is about a single guy who is unable to commit to a relationship. He finds out an ex-girlfriend has 6 months to live and decides it's perfect. He can commit without worrying in the long-term consequences, which sounds like a very Seinfeld
Yeah, it does.
kind of plot, which was intriguing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I thought prognosis negative, I did not think of kind of a rom-com. So I'm giving this a tier 2.
Oh, tier 2.
Yes.
See, well, in the show, Elaine wants to see the movie with Jerry and not with George, but Jerry sees it with George first, only to find out that the movie's actually pretty terrible. And then Jerry doesn't tell Elaine, because he doesn't want to tell her he already saw the movie, so he has to see it again.
He did not like it.
And since Jerry thought it was terrible, I think it'll be terrible as well. It's a tier 3.
Okay.
Jerry thinks everything's terrible and is a bad judge of everything.
True.
We're both picky.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm also going to give it a tier 2.
Okay.
Looks aggressively 2B. Yeah. All right, now we have Hamlet from The Last Action Hero.
Speaking of 2B,
Hey.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark, and Hamlet is taking out the trash.
and who's in it, Kent?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Because I always get confused. I'm like, in Last Action Hero, is he Jack Slater? He's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, he's Jack Slater's the character Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yes.
plays. Which if you haven't seen Last Action Hero, the synopsis: with the help of a magic ticket, a young boy is transported into the fictional world of his favorite action movie character. And this one is interesting because it's not a trailer per se.
It's a trailer.
No, this is Danny watching Sir Laurence Olivier's Hamlet in his school class, and he gets bored, and he kind of has this fantasy of Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Hamlet.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. And so it's kind of in his imagination, but we counted it as a fake movie because, hey, so did Nestflix.
I just love it.
Dot fun.
Stay thy hand, fair prince. Who said I'm fair?
Yeah. Hey, Claudius, you killed my father. Big mistake.
Like, I love the story of Hamlet, and this one has mood lighting. This movie is very dark and blue.
There's the part where he's on the horse and like there's just the one red sheet on the horse. Everything else is like blue and white.
And
no
who would
one is
wanna
going
see-
to tell this sweet prince good night.
It's Free Prince, good night.
Yes.
How good is that?
And then he
Good
does
night,
have the
sweet
famous
prince.
line where he's like, to be or not to be. And he blows up something and says, not to
be.
Not to be.
People are sleeping on Last Action Hero.
For sure.
It's an amazing movie.
It's
It
fantastic.
really is. Definitely before its time.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that movie would have done so much better if it would have come out, I don't know, 10 years later or
Yeah.
something. But I thought this was an interesting take on Hamlet. I enjoyed the idea of it. I'm giving it a tier 1.
Yeah, it's tier 1. Should be taught in college classes.
This is giving me like Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter,
Sure, yeah,
Pride and
yeah.
Prejudice and Zombies
Yeah.
vibe, where you're like, that's totally unnecessary. What are you doing? And take my money. Tier 1. Yeah. Honestly, it's super well done as well.
Yeah.
Just in
It's the look of the
the actual
trailer.
movie.
Yeah.
And there's a Wilhelm screen in the trailer.
There is.
Yeah. We were watching a show and we were watching Star Wars, and my stepson noticed the Wilhelm scream. He's
Really?
like, all the movies have that same scream. I'm like, what does it sound like? He's like,
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Have you guys ever tried to do the Wilhelm
It's hard.
scream like
Hold
in
on,
real
ready,
life?
set, go. That's just me at 14 years old.
Please cut that out.
It's hard.
No way.
Now we have Kick Puncher from Community.
It's 2006 AD, and nuclear war has ravaged the planet. Between cities is a free fire zone ruled by scavengers, drug dealers, and terrorists. Kick Puncher keeps order as a cyborg cop whose punches have the power of kicks.
That's right. His punches have the power of kicks. And this is from Community, which is about, suspended lawyers forced to enroll at a community college with an eccentric staff and student body.
Mm-hmm.
But Troy and Abed, two of the main characters, this is one of their favorite all-time movies, Kick Puncher.
I love this quote from the movie where he says, my punches were only as strong as my punches, and then things changed.
There's a whole series of these, right?
Yeah, they have sequels. Another line I like from this when he says, the only thing beyond the reach of my fists is humanity.
So the sequel is Kick Puncher, codename Punch Kicker, because that's his nemesis.
Yeah. Who has kicks the power of punches.
Uh-huh. So this is rated R, obviously, because it's one of those like early 80s grindhouse movies.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Seems a little long.
It's like the director's cut there.
And and this is kind of based on like a 80s, 90s action movies like RoboCop, because even Kick Puncher has like a half kind of metal face. Very poor special effects on this. But the thing I love about this
Go on.
is that
And why is it tier 1 for you?
Troy and Abed love this movie, but they know it's bad. They watch it with the intent to make fun of it, like Mystery Science Theater,
Yeah.
which is totally up my alley. I love these so good it's bad kind of movies. That's why Troll 2 is like, I actually really do enjoy it because it's so bad. A lot of Mystery Science Theater movies like Pod People or Werewolf, they're so bad, but I laugh along with the Mystery Science Theater guys. I could do that with my friends with this one. I'm giving this one, Kick Puncher, a tier 1.
Wow. This is one of those movies where you fall asleep and then you wake up at 2:47 a.m.
Very specific.
and Kick Puncher is on. You're like, am I dreaming this? And I love it so much, but it belongs in a place that's not really seen. It
belongs in a museum.
It belongs on Tubi.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. Not my thing. Tier 3.
Oh, no Kick Puncher? Not even ironic fun?
No.
Wow.
What about Punch Kicker?
Consider it. Yeah, maybe. Now we have Threat Level Midnight from The Office.
Secret agent Michael Scarn comes out of retirement to help the president stop Golden Face from bombing the NHL All-Star Game.
And so, since Ken doesn't know The Office, I'll read the cast here. Michael Scott, Dwight Schrute, Jim Halpert, Creed Bratton, Daryl Philbin, Troy Underbridge, Ryan Howard, Andy Bernard, Jan Levison, Oscar Martinez, Stanley Hudson, Roy Anderson, Pam Beasley, Kevin Malone, Kelly Kapoor, Toby Flenderson, Meredith Palmer, Angela Martin, Phyllis Vance, Karen Filippelli, and Todd Packer, which is... Okay, I'll say this about this movie. Is that it was so fun when they actually, because they made a reference to it in the second season to
Like a secret script.
They found the script.
They found
and
the
read
script.
it.
They do like a read through, but then in the 7th season, I believe it was, when Michael Scott was about to leave, Steve Carell mentioned, "Hey, remember that script we did? I'd love to be able to do more with that." And so they wrote this episode where they get to screen the movie for The Office and actually see it put together. And the fun thing is they bring back characters that we hadn't seen for a long time and bring them back to be in the movie, because in theory, he pieced together this movie throughout the years, just bit by bit, and used people from The Office in doing that.
So the episode is 25 minutes long. I watched this today because I obviously haven't got...
The movie
here.
is 25 minutes long. Yeah.
I mean, so the movie's meant to be 2 hours and 33 minutes.
Right.
In this fictional world.
But you can find like the full
you can
25
find the
minute
episode
movie
that
on
is
YouTube
actually
on the
25
official
minutes.
channel. Yes.
And guess what? I mean, it's purposely like meant to be a home video, right?
Yeah.
It's not a very fun episode of The Office.
It's
Like, it's kind of funny because they're acting so poorly and that's the joke. But I'm watching it going like, a golden face is kind of funny, and it's funny they're shooting at each other and no one's really getting hit, and that's funny.
It's a gimmicky. I'll admit,
I get that reference funny.
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's a little bit gimmicky, and I fully acknowledge that. But it's also enjoyable because it's fun. Like I said, it's fun to see those characters come back and be there again. But as a movie, I don't know if it's as strong. What do you guys think?
Tier 3.
Tier 2.
What?
Yeah, it's a Tubi movie. Couldn't you see the poster of Threat Level Midnight on Tubi?
Here's the thing. Even in the world of The Office, all this is a YouTube video.
Yeah, I have seen some really poorly made movies on Shudder and Tubi.
I believe that. But like, this is something, when you see corporate companies are like, we made a funny video. Here you go. I literally used to make these for an old job.
I'd watch them.
I made an Avengers parody once. Like, it's not good.
It's
get me away from
good
this.
for those in the inside joke, like the people in the show The Office. This is an inside joke for
this
all.
This is just for everybody who's
the
in
employees.
Threat Level Midnight.
Yeah. It's fun to see that. It's fun to see those callbacks. But as someone from outside watching who didn't know it, I can see the flaws in that. I'm giving this a tier 2 as well, Kent.
Okay.
Which I know is going to anger some people because this is
Is
kind
this
of
probably the
beloved.
most well-known of these movies we've talked about, or is that Angels with Filthy Souls?
Probably Angels with Filthy Souls might be more well known.
Okay. Because I feel like people enjoy the concept of Threat Level Midnight because it is such a joke about Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Or Michael Scott.
I mean, nobody thinks this is real. They think that Angels of Filthy Souls
Yeah,
is real.
that's right.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that.
And our final movie, Good Will Hunting 2, Hunting Season.
Will and Chucky return to their Boston stomping grounds, and they don't like the sound of them apples. Clark better watch his back. It's hunting season.
Starring who, Kent?
Oh, it's starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon
And directed by
Kevin Smith.
Gus Van Sant.
Oh, is he supposed to have directed it?
Guess. But this is from the movie Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which the synopsis, the comic Blunt Man and Chronic is based on real life stoners, Jay and Silent Bob. So when they get no profit from the big screen adaptation, they set out to wreck the movie. So they go to the set, they're going to wreck this movie, and then they see it's not the movie they were thinking of. It's Good Will Hunting 2.
Yeah.
Which Good Will Hunting, if you don't know, is a movie about a janitor at Harvard. Harvard or Yale? It's Harvard, isn't it? Because Boston.
Harvard.
But he's not living up to his potential. And this movie, I don't know what they would do with this movie, Kent. Like the short clip you see of it, it makes no sense in the context of what
Well, it kind of seems like
is.
I think that the concept is it's kind of revisiting the same plot. Where, so for example, like Will Hunting is meant to be very, very smart and outsmart everyone he talks to. But so he meets this old college bully, and they're having
from the first
movie,
one,
and they're having that same kind of conversation about philosophers. But the bully knows more now, so he's able to spar intellectually with Will Hunting, and Will Hunting gets mad, and shoots him.
He pulls out a shotgun in the bar and shoots him.
I also love this quote: "You're just no longer that good, Will Hunting."
Good Will Hunting.
So I think this movie basically is Will Hunting getting outsmarted. Maybe he's not as smart, like he's been passed up.
But is it an action film?
It is kind of like a Death Wish sort of movie.
So it's an action film.
Yes.
Whereas the first one was a drama.
A brilliant drama.
But what if, and I was actually trying to figure out the plot of the movie, where it would go from there. Because he pulls out a shotgun, shoots this guy, kills him. And I just thought, but what if that's like, then he has to go to jail. And it's like this drama. Like that's the one time he kills somebody and he loses it and then he has to go to jail and then he has a whole
but their tone was very jokey. Ben Affleck in that fake trailer was purposely like a buddy cop comedy.
Well, it's not a trailer as much in this one as it is.
They're on set.
They're on set watching
Gus
it being
Van
filmed.
Sant's in the back, like counting his money.
See, I feel like this would be sort of like an Aliens thing where it changes genres from the sequel, and it's brilliant.
See, I similarly thought, where is this going to go from here? And I went more Bob Odenkirk's Nobody.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine Will Hunting?
But who's he going to go after?
You know,
also,
honestly,
everybody who
I want
wronged
to
him?
point this out. This is probably the only trailer. Well, maybe don't, but the only trailer I don't know if I can recommend watching because it's very Good Will Hunting language and Jay and Silent Bob language. Like,
I do feel like Ben Affleck's character would be hit by friendly fire, and then we'd hear, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault."
Would Robin Williams have been in this movie when it was made?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
No, Dan Castellaneta would have been in this movie.
Jeez.
Good reference.
Wow.
Well played.
Little Aladdin sequel reference there.
However, just because I'd want to see this, and maybe it'd be kind of fun to have the legacy of the first movie tarnished, it's tier 2B.
Zach?
Tier 1. I think it's kind of awesome.
Wow.
I love Good Will Hunting.
Do you like the original one?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, kind of in. Again, in my brain, he now goes off on a John Wick style rampage.
But against whom?
Everyone who wronged him.
College
Anybody who said he
bullies?
couldn't.
I guess.
The preppies.
Maybe.
Mini
Yeah.
Driver's dad.
It seems like he was mostly his own enemy in the first movie.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's how it ends.
Ooh. I'm giving this a tier 3.
Yeah.
I don't think VidAngel, I think it'd be a lot of muting for me. I was like, where's this going to go? How can they
But
do
come on,
this?
how could you not love after they shoot the guy? He goes, Ben Affleck goes, applesauce.
Yeah. No, that made me laugh. But like I said, it was like, that's done. They can't make a feature length of this. It's not like it's Gandhi 2,
Yeah.
which I also gave a tier 3.
Good Will
I wanna point
Hunting
out.
2 is no Gandhi 2.
Drama to action apparently doesn't sit well with me.
Did you give any tier 1s, Joel?
I gave exactly 6.
Wow.
Zach, is that not true?
That is true. We agreed 4 times on this episode. We agreed on Mant and Hamlet as tier 1 fake movies.
Just those 2?
Just those 2.
Wow.
Yeah, because Kent gave Angels with Filthy Souls.
I'm sorry.
Tier 2.
Yeah.
Joel, you gave The Dueling Cavalier a tier 2, where Kent and I gave it a tier 1. So those were the next closest. And then we did not collectively give anything a tier 2. So there's no tier 2Bs from the group.
Unsubscribe.
But we did all say we don't want to watch Chubby Rain from Bowfinger, and we don't want to watch Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder.
Those are the ones then? Those ones we
Those
didn't
are
like as
where we
much?
matched up. But you want to know something kind of bizarre?
Yes.
We had a straight tier 1, 2, and 3 between the group 6 times. That's probably the most it's
got to
ever
be a
happened.
record. Wow.
Which means we are all, I don't know, different levels of optimism on these fake movies.
Yes. Yeah, apparently. But we want to know what you think. That's why we do Baconsale, is to hear your opinions, not just to voice our own. Well, kind of to voice our own. But we want to hear from you on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. We want to know if you would be interested in any of these fake movies. A lot of these do have trailers on YouTube, some caution on some of them. But go out, watch them, and see if you would rank them the same as us. Remember, 6 tier 1s, 6 tier 2, and 6 tier 3s. We have to add some level of difficulty so you don't just give everything a tier 3. But we would like to hear from you, listener. And before we go, we'd like to give some love to our patrons, which includes Taylor Sanderson, Some Guy, Sir and Madam Hicks, Shannon West, Scott, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too dang bad. You keep digging, Sprague.
That's
Ryan
like
and
the
Marley,
millennial anthem at this point.
Rocky and Steph, Lady Terry Finley, Juice the Cooler King Swallow, Jennifer Kukowski, Casey Cummings, Angela Platz, Alicia Bass, and Adam and Rachel Crump. And then we have our Bacon Council, which includes the other Brit, Johnny English, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Star Wars expert Kyler, our favorite couple, the Madsons, Nicole D. Kale, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Glow Clint Daniel, Debbie Foster, and Beaker.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. You are the prognosis to our negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
You're the rural treasurer.
Yes.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me performing with Quick Wits, who perform at the Midvale Performing Arts Center and the studio at the Parker Theater. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quick Wits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kenny3DD. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
And if you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Tumbling Mustard. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Please like that Facebook page and then go to at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. After that, go to tpublic.com/Baconsale and get yourself some merch. My entire family got hashtag Team Zach shirts.
Aw,
so
cute.
it's adorable. We all wore them to a Bees game. It was so cute.
Cute.
And if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale, where support starts at just $3 a month. We've got some fun things going on behind the scenes, like new toys that make really obnoxious noises. I'm so sorry, patrons. Patreon.com/Baconsale.
So until next time, well, Kent, Zach, that's a wrap on this parody episode of Baconsale. I wonder if people will think it's real. Baconsale, the movie, a Kent and his dream. Wow, what a difference.
What's more fun than being fake?
You know, you're going to watch it on Tubi or not Tubi?
Tier 2B.
I don't know if I've ever watched anything on Tubi.
Tier
Maybe?
2B. This is so cute. It's chicken soup for the sleepy soul.
Gandhi 2 is on this list, and you're calling this one exciting?
I wasn't even born then.
None of us were.
We love it. Ken has the wrong melanin content for that.
I like my movies silent.
I like my movies like I like my children. Silent.
Do we have any other movies about Purim?
If you're thinking of going into this door, don't. I'm Batman.
If you
There too.
are watching this trailer at work,
Don't. Keep the change, you
so
filthy
good.
animal. Kent's going to give all the lies. I only tell the truth. I can't stand him.
We don't like Chubby Rain, and that's all.
He's a one-man wrecking crew, but he also knows how to party.
No. No. Maybe. No.
That was Loudwater. Mant!
I knew this was Matinee. Pretty sure I said manatee. Go on.
You meant it, and it feels
Zach,
so good.
You demand. It
belongs in a museum.
It belongs on Tubi.
And they can't make a feature length out of this. It's not like it's Gandhi 2.
He's over.